Hello, and welcome to week 4 of Clinical Inquiry 2. Summer's flying right along, and this week marks the halfway point for the course. Now, so far, we've had a number of different assignments and discussion board posts that were due and graded and given feedback for. If you have any questions whatsoever about any of the grading or how to do any of the assignments better, please reach out to the instructor that did the grading. For now, let's move on over to the Moodle page and I'll walk you through this week's assignment. So here we are on the week 4 Moodle page. And as always, let's go ahead and take a look at the instructional objectives. I want to take a look at those real quick. You're going to use your own clinical question to search PubMed this week. Again, there's our textbook if you have any questions about how to do this, but hopefully this is going to be pretty straightforward since we just did 2 assignments on how to search. Specifically, you're going to look for relevant MeSH terms and relevant search and MeSH terms for your paper-patient clinical question. We've learned how to combine the terms, use asterisks and quotation marks, and also how to perform the search in PubMed. The thing that's going to be new this week that I'd like to introduce you to is to accurately apply delimiters to your search, and I'll explain what delimiters are exactly as far as PubMed is concerned. You will also have to reference selected articles using AMA format. So here I've accessed the PubMed page. I've gone through the University of Lynchburg Library website, and this is where I ended up. Okay, just want to show you a few things. If I go to advanced, I know that the video last week had the bracket, TW bracket, and I just kind of want to show you what that is more. I don't think they really clarified it. So let's say if we just search a term, and one of my favorite terms to search, research interest, is spasticity. Okay, I can add spasticity to my query box, and I'm just going to go ahead and add it to my history. When I just use the word spasticity, I get 30,000 results. Quite a bit, right? If I look at the details, the reason why I get so many is because it's not only searching for spasticity, it's also muscle spasticity. Muscle spasticity is a MeSH term. Spastic, spasticities, spastics. Don't necessarily want these terms in there, but this is what happens when I just search for spasticity without anything else. Now, if I'm going to search again for spasticity, I can search spasticity as a term found anywhere in the text of an article. This would be the bracket TW. That means I'm searching for a text word. So that when I add that, and I add it to history, you can see that if I'm looking for a text word spasticity anywhere in the article, I get 16,000 some odd results. And now when I look in the details section, I can see that spasticity is, I'm just looking for the text word spasticity. I'm not looking for anything else. Okay, now I could also, if I really want to get specific about how much the article has to do with spasticity, I like to look for spasticity as a title, a word that's going to be in the title or in the abstract. That means it's going to be a really important concept for that particular paper. Okay, when I add it to my search bar, and then I add it to my history, you can see that of the 16,000 that had the text word spasticity, only 12,000 had spasticity in the title and abstract. Okay, so now I'm only looking at articles that really focus on spasticity. If I want to look at the results, click here, you can see that all the results are here, and I also have these filters. They're called My NCBI filters. This is just a sliding scale, so if I wanted to limit my articles to those published in, let's say, the last 10 years or so, I can bring it all the way down to here. Okay, in the last 10 years, I only have 6,000 results to choose from. Again, I can use this sliding scale, or I can scroll all the way down and make it a 10-year publication range, which it already is. So it's not letting me do that. Oh. Okay, and published in the last 10 years, more specifically 5,800. I can use text availability, so I can look for free full text or full text, but then again, I've gone in through the UL website, so I might not want to do that at this point. I could also search by article type or limit my search by article type. We know that randomized control trials are kind of nice to have, right? Those are really good articles. Now, by adding the article type delimiter, randomized control trial, I'm down to 374 results. Other things that I can do here, there's lots of additional filters that I can choose from. I can choose species. I'm just going to say I only want to look at humans, and that should pop up. So I definitely want humans. And if I look for looking for additional filters, another thing that I'd like to add is that I really would like my article to be published in English. Select that, and I can show that. I could also choose age. I mean, I know a lot of people are giving ages of patients, but you can actually choose the age range. And for specificity, let's go middle-aged, 45 plus years of age, and say show. Okay, so I can choose English, humans, and I could also choose middle-aged. And you can see, just by adding these things called delimiters, I've narrowed my search considerably down to 257 results. So if you have a lot of terms that you're using and you choose to use text word as opposed to title abstract, then you might end up with articles that aren't really relevant to the concept that you're trying to search for. And when you're doing searches for your clinical questions, if you're trying to narrow things down or look for something very specific, go ahead and try and apply some delimiters and let me know what those are when you do your search. Okay, there is one more feature available to you in PubMed that I'd like to make everybody aware of. Here I am with my search results, and say I'm interested in a paper, a particular paper. Let's look at paper number 3 here. If I click on that paper, okay, I need to cite this paper. Okay, I need to reference it in some way. To reference it, I say cite, and I can actually use lots of information. You get the authors here, you get the name of the article, you get the name of the reference, the year. There's different formats you can choose. NLM is the National Library of Medicine. For this week's assignment, I'm asking you to cite in the most common citation formula used in physical therapy, and that's AMA, American Medical Association. Okay? PubMed does it for you automatically. All you have to do is cut or copy and paste this into your documentation. Okay, this will also be really useful for you when you have to do projects in both orthopedics and neuro rehab next year. So automatically cited for you. You just choose the article that you want, you open it, you say cite, you're good to go. Back to week 4. You're watching this instructional video now. And for this week, you just have 2 short assignments. Okay, the first assignment is you're going to use the links shown here to access your group's post for discussion number 2. Look at the searchable clinical questions that were provided by your group members. Okay, you have to look at all the questions, and what I want you to do is identify a question that you think would be most effective for performing a database search and state why you think this is true. And the second is identify a question that you think will not be effective for database searching and offer suggestions on how to make it better. So hopefully that's pretty straightforward. You're just going to reply to your group member's post. The second thing you have to do this week is create a post for discussion 3 using the links in the table below. Let's say you're in the SNF number 1 group. You are going to conduct a literature search using the strategy that I had you use in the first 2 assignments, or something very similar. Using this search strategy, you're going to identify the top 3 articles that you found in PubMed to answer your clinical question. When you post your discussion board post, write your clinical question at the top of the post, and then put your final search strategy, including all your search terms, your mesh terms, your combining words, your asterisks, quotation marks, and delimiters that I just described to you. You're going to indicate the number of articles that you found in this search, and ideally you want a search that's going to find less than 25, approximately 25 to 30, 20 articles or so overall. And then you're going to provide citations for these 3 articles in AMA format. And please use the method that I just showed in the video leading up to this discussion board post. Okay, that's it for the week. Hope everybody has a great week.